for what is being described as a period of silence in memory of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II.
Ladies and gentlemen, we will now observe a period of silence to mark the recent passing of Her Majesty the Queen. This will start and end on the referee's whistle.
Been at many football grounds where you've said it was an impeccable period of silence. There were a few heckles, but it was just a minority. Jurgen Klopp had said he will show his respect with silence. Sir Kenny Dalglish had talked about respect costs nothing and goes both ways. In a crowd of probably around 54,000, you're talking of 1, 2 or 3 voices that tried to spoil it, but the majority certainly did show their respects to Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II. You're listening to BBC Radio 5 live here at Anfield, and the referee blows his whistle and Liverpool get us underway. All in red, playing from right to left, as the Ajax supporters in alternate rows are swaying from side to side, which can have quite a dizzying effect from a visual point of view, and thankfully now they just break out jumping up and down in unison. Liverpool, I'm sure, felt a little bit dizzy at times when they conceded the 4 goals in Naples. They're looking for a steadying influence from this side today to try and get themselves back on track against an Ajax side that hammered Rangers by 4-0. It's a busy night in the Football League. Early goals to tell you about: Walsall 0, Colchester 1, Middlesbrough 0, Cardiff 1, Bradford City leading at Tranmere by 1-0, Crawley 1, Stockport 0, Grimsby 1, Gillingham 0, Swindon 0, Sutton 1, Charlton 1, Forest Green 0, Lincoln lead Derby by 1-0, Grimsby 1, Gillingham 1, and you're up to date as Liverpool are attacking. Out towards Salah, enters the penalty area, tries to pass the ball in low and cleared away by Daley Blind. Here is Elliott, passes the ball forward, reaches Salah, out on that far side. Remember, Liverpool all in red, playing from right to left.
It's a good move from Liverpool, that started with Thiago, quick long switch.
Ball hooked away by Alvarez on the edge of the penalty area, taken high on the chest by Virgil van Dijk, and then Van Dijk forward towards Thiago. Infield, Luis Diaz plays the ball back to Matip. Over the halfway line he comes. Elliott now inside. Already Liverpool looking to try and pass the ball quite quickly. Scooped forward by Matip to Alexander-Arnold. Cross though was blocked over on that far side, and out it play, it goes for a throw.
Yeah, Liverpool 4-3-3 against an Ajax 4-3-3. Interesting matchup that. Daley Blind, 32-33, aging against Mo Salah. I think Liverpool will look to exploit Ajax in that left-back role.
Liverpool in possession, seeing a lot of the ball in the early stages here. Stockport have equalised down at Crawley in League 2. Crawley 1, Stockport 1. Simicast just trying to feed it down the line to Jota, and it goes out of play. That Wrench, this teenage right back, Dutch international, is going to take it. He's come through the academy. You think about the players that have departed Ajax. Obviously Martinez and Anthony combined for 170 million to Manchester United, but Gravenberch leading to Bayern. Onana, Tagliafico, Allaire, £230 million worth of of money that they've brought into the club as Matip brings the ball out of defence. Harvey Elliott, and yet they've won their last 7 games. Salah along the ground, Thiago out towards Elliott, right hand side of the penalty area, cuts into on his left foot, crosses. Ajax being forced back. Tsimikas tees himself up for the volley, left footed inside the penalty area, and he's skied it out for a goal kick. 0-0. Chris Sutton.
Yeah, is it me, or is there just a better feel about this Liverpool team with Thiago in the middle of the park? Lovely pass out to the right hand side. Harvey Elliott coming inside on his favoured left foot, and as the ball was headed clear, Tsimikas, decent first touch, but the poor effort in the end, couldn't get his left hip up high enough, and the ball sailed well over the Ajax crossbar.
5 successive clean sheets by my calculations coming into the game. 8 hours and 50 minutes since Ajax last conceded against Groningen. As Alisson hits the ball long, luminous green goalkeeping outfit away towards our right hand side, and it runs out for a Liverpool throw, taken quickly as Elliott receives a late barge in the back by Taylor in the midfield to Alisson. Van Dijk, who used to play for Groningen, of course, with Tadic actually during their time there, as well as at Southampton. The ball is kept in play by Jurrien Timber, 21-year-old defender. Liverpool, though, take it quickly, then they give the ball away. Berghuis looking to try and find Mohamed Kudus, who keeps hold of the ball, turns, and then Berghuis tried to hook it into the path of Daley Blind. But Daley Blind, the left back, was never going to get forward, and he won't want to get forward either, because he's going to try and keep a handle on Mo Salah.
Absolutely, but what a lovely take from Kudus. Virgil van Dijk really tight to him, but manoeuvred the ball away from him. You're quite right, I think Blind will be more of a back support on that left-hand side for Ajax. Steven Bergwijn ahead of him, who's had a sensational start to the season. I just wonder whether Ajax will look to exploit Liverpool and that right-hand side defensively.
Well, that's where Napoli had so much joy last week in Naples. Exeter are leading at Shrewsbury in League One by 1-0. Middlesbrough have conceded again at the Riverside. Middlesbrough 0, Cardiff City 2. You're up to date with the goals as they go in here on BBC Radio 5 Live, or indeed you might be listening via BBC Sounds as well, as Ajax patiently pass the ball across their back line. Timber to Calvin Bassey, former Rangers player, as he goes forward to Alvarez, now back towards goalkeeper Pasveer. Didn't really look comfortable there trying to play the ball out, and Bassey has put it out of play for a Liverpool throw that Tsimikas wants to take on this near side. Tsimikas, not much movement ahead of him, so he hangs on to the ball. 6.5 minutes played, 0-0.
Yeah, it wasn't a great pass from Pasveer, but I think that's his strength. The ball at his feet. Bassey panicked a little bit there.
Here is Thiago. Thiago with a cross from the left-hand side. Alexander-Arnold lays it back. Elliott gets a touch. Matip passes the ball forward. Mo Salah now coming in off the right touchline, right corner of the area. Feeds it through to Alexander-Arnold, back towards Salah. Ajax get the ball away through Bassey. But Ajax is sitting very, very deep in defence.
They are. A quick free kick there from Liverpool, and good run from Alexander-Arnold. Just moved into an inverted midfield position, and then Salah off the right-hand side fed the ball to him, but Ajax scramble the ball to safety. But is Liverpool, what, 40 yards out? Right-hand side of the Ajax box with a free kick, too far to shoot, I think.
Exeter have got a second. The former Middlesbrough player Jonathan Grounds at Shrewsbury, they're 2-0 up. Peterborough 0, Fleetwood 1, a latest score also in League One. Free kick for Liverpool. Champions League night here at Anfield. 0-0, been playing for 8 minutes. Central position, fractionally right of centre. Alexander-Arnold to wrap it in, goes through a crowd of players, arcs its way through them and out of play for a goal kick. But Ajax are the ones who found themselves under pressure in these opening 8 minutes.
Yes, I suppose, you know, we expected Liverpool, with the hurt they would have been feeling after last week's performance and result against Napoli, to really come out of the blocks this evening and take the game to Ajax. That's what we've been accustomed to, haven't we, under Jurgen Klopp? Front foot football, fearless football. Hasn't been that so far this season, though.
Shrewsbury have got a goal back now. Shrewsbury 1, Exeter 2. Alexander-Arnold in field. Ajax coming forward. Tadic fouled inside the centre circle by Luis Diaz, and after Diaz, the Portuguese referee gives a free kick to the Dutch side.
He's slightly fortunate there, Luis Diaz. Tadic got the other side of him there, running towards the Liverpool goal. First foul, but maybe slightly fortunate not to see yellow.
Number of players who'll be maybe familiar to you. One of them is Calvin Bassey, formerly of Rangers, came through Leicester City's youth system. Another one was Steven Bergwijn, who just got a little touch there, trying to help it out towards the left-hand side. Dusan Tadic, of course, from Southampton. Steven Berghuis did have a spell at Watford. Just did the 11 appearances between 2015 and 2017. And Daley Blind, who actually had a good record playing against Liverpool during his time for Manchester United. He only lost 1 of 6. That defeat coming here in a Europa League match. And in fact, it is Daley Blind who takes the throw, and hence the boos on that far side. Handball. Liverpool have a free kick, and it remains 0-0. In fact, there could have been a number of these players who could have still been playing in the Premier League. Everton showed interest in Mohamed Kudus in the summer window, and Edson Alvarez was a target for Chelsea. Both were unhappy that Ajax didn't sanction the moves. However, to their credit, they both seem to have settled down quite quickly. 0-0, Champions League night on BBC Radio 5 Live. We've already brought you that dramatic finish where Sporting Lisbon beat Tottenham Hotspur by 2-0. And tomorrow night we're at the Etihad for Manchester City against Borussia Dortmund. Tsimikas on this near side, forward to Luis Diaz, short of the halfway line. Back to Tsimikas, outside of the left boot. And it was Timber who climbed above Jota, and out it goes for a throw. 11 minutes played. What have you made of the start, Chris Sutton?
I think Liverpool have come out and they've tried to be positive and take the game to Ajax, but not really found any real rhythm just yet. That slickness in the final third, haven't seen any of that. Thiago's played a couple of nice passes. We're seeing Jota now receive the ball. He's come deep in that centre forward role, linking the play up, but just lacking that spark, that moment.
Here is Elliott just over the halfway line. His pass, though, easily intercepted by Alvarez, who saw it coming, raced onto it to break up the play. Ajax now have Tadic on this near side, the right. Berghuis goes on the outside as a decoy, back to Alvarez. Ajax now send everybody forward, so every outfield player is in the Liverpool half towards our right-hand side, but it's still 0-0 here on 5 Live. Bassey, little lax, didn't control the ball, and as a result of that, he's forced to go back to the goalkeeper, all in blue, and Liverpool can try and put Ajax under pressure midway through their own half with Bassey. Little touch to Berghuis, back to his keeper, comes out of his penalty area now and strikes it right-footed long. Van Dijk challenged in the air, helped on by the head of Tsimikas. The referee sees no foul. Tadic now picks it up for Ajax, right corner of the area, plays it forward. Here is Kudus, the angle is tight, and Marshall safely out for a goal kick by Matip. Well, excellent defending.
It was. Matip did extremely well. Actually came from a long ball, Van Dijk winning the header, Ajax picking up the knockdown, and Tadic inside on his left foot. Clever little run from Kudus, and Matip stays on his feet, doesn't go to ground, and ushers Kudus away from goal. Ball out to play for a Liverpool goal kick.
Alexander-Arnold mixed it away from Blind. The left back had come out of position to try and press the England international. Salah now can try and exploit that gap, but Blind was back there helped out by Bassi, and Ajax have actually done well on, urged on by that travelling support. A boisterous bunch, and they might have something to cheer here as a diagonal ball was looking towards Mohamed Kudus, but it was cut out by Van Dijk. They were arrived early at Anfield this evening, and I don't think they've stopped singing throughout the whole night. Nearly 3,000 of them away towards our left-hand side. Liverpool 0, Ajax 0 remains the scoreline here on BBC Radio 5 Live. Stoke City are leading at Hull in the Championship by a goal to 0, and in the Lancashire Derby it's Preston 0, Burnley 1. That was an 8 o'clock kickoff, but Burnley have scored early there as the ball is cleared away by the goalkeeper Pasveer. Elliott will keep it in play. Wycombe lead Accrington by a goal to 0. Ipswich leading Bristol Rovers 1-0. Huddersfield 0, Wigan 1 is a latest score also in the Championship. Huddersfield 4 without a win, and Cheltenham 0, Cambridge United 1. Let's get an update from Swansea. Laura Kenyon.
Swansea 0, Sheffield United 0. Chances at both ends. Ollie McBurney put one over the bar from close range for the league leaders. Evenly poised though, plenty of Swansea threat, and after half an hour it's 0-0.
Bruges looking to make it 2 wins out of 2 in Group B, are leading away at Porto by a goal to 0 in the Champions League. Back to the Championship, Lee Blakeman, Blackburn.
Blackburn 0, Watford 0. Blackburn by far and away the better of the two teams, though Brereton, Diaz and Hedges have both gone close but had their shot saved by Backman. 0-0.
Alexander-Arnold running forward, Elliott on the overlap. Alexander-Arnold fires over the cross from the right corner of the area. Diving forward was the fair-haired goalkeeper Remco Pasveer. Comfortable save, goalless. Chris Sutton.
Yep, Harvey Elliott just making the overlap, and Daley Blind backing off Alexander-Arnold. You expect better from him in that crossing position. Normally he's really accurate, but straight through to Pasveer.
Here is Jota picking up a loose ball, tries to
early though, didn't he?
through.
Mo Salah went far too early.
Offside. Flags raised. Free kick to Ajax. There are just signs that it's just not clicking in that final third still for Liverpool.
Yeah, I think it's, I mean, Bournemouth aside, the story of Liverpool's season in both penalty areas, they just haven't been good enough. They need to find a way of getting over the line and find a way of regaining that confidence. You just see Ajax, the longer this half goes on, getting a foothold in this game, gaining confidence.
Preston 1, Burnley 1. Equaliser for Preston at Deepdale in the Championship. Pasveer clears. Tsimikas and Tadic holding each other, and it's Tadic, the captain, backing into the Liverpool left back, who is the offender in the eyes of the assistant referee down below.
He's not done anything wrong there. A 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. I think Tadic furious with that decision, just letting the assistant know his feelings.
Here is Jota, just outside the D. He finds Mo Salah in the penalty area, and Mo Salah scores. Finds the back of the net off that trusty left foot. Liverpool in the 17th minute take the lead. Jota with the assist, and Mo Salah for his first goal in 8 attempts in the Champions League gives Liverpool the advantage. 1-0.
It's a clinical finish from Mo Salah. Is this the spark which Liverpool have needed to get their season going? And it's a long ball from Alisson. Diaz wins the first header, and then Jota feeds the ball out to Salah. I don't know what Daley Blind is doing. He just lets Salah run, and Salah superbly clinical. Lovely pass from Jota. One touch with his right foot, actually a little bit of a heavy touch with his right foot. Pasveer rooted to his 6-yard line, and Mo Salah beats him down to his left-hand side.
Just before that, the Liverpool supporters had been singing his name. Now it reverberates around Anfield because Liverpool have got the lead that they so wanted. And for Mo Salah, who hasn't been firing on all cylinders this season, he's got the goal that he craves. First goal in the Champions League since February against Inter Milan. Just what Liverpool wanted.
Yeah, and the truth is, I think however they got the goal. You know, Jurgen Klopp, it didn't matter, it doesn't matter. Long ball from Alisson. Diaz did really well to win the first header, and then Jota nicely composed. And Salah actually a poor first touch, but still had time to pick his spot, and clinical with his left foot.
MK Dons 0, Bolton 1, latest score in League One. And Hartlepool United, who are actually yet to win this season, are leading Crewe at Victoria Park by a goal to nil in League Two. There is Berghuis, out to Tadic, right corner of the penalty area. Tadic's cross takes the deflection, might fall towards Taylor, waits for it to settle. Now Berghuis clips the bar, late flag, now it's raised, wouldn't have counted.
Oh yes, I think he was in an offside position. It's actually a poor effort from Taylor from 18-19 yards, left-hand side of the box, but initially the move is good, but the cross is blocked from Tadic, and Taylor 16 yards out fires a shot, but Berghuis 7 yards out prods the ball onto the Liverpool crossbar, but he was a yard offside.
Do you fancy a little bit of role play?
Go on.
Well, I was just thinking you could take on the role of my maths teacher. If it was 8 hours 50 minutes without a goal that they hadn't conceded coming into the game, do you concur that it's now 9 hours 7 minutes, the first goal that Ajax had conceded? And would you give me an A+ or a B for effort, maybe?
I'd give you, I mean, it's pretty basic. I'd give you a D for really basic.
You didn't see my maths reports. Here is Luis Diaz. Liverpool lead by a goal to nil. Crawley 2, Stockport 1. Tsimikas just tried to get the better of Wrench on this near side. Comes back to Luis Diaz, who's actually walking the ball towards the left corner of the penalty area. Tsimikas, Jota, all getting a touch now. Back with Fabinho. But it was, oh, nice play by Thiago. And then he's needlessly brought down by Jurrien Timber. Fortunate to get away without a yellow card. Free kick to Liverpool. Shrewsbury 2, Exeter 2. Exeter were 2-0 up there in League One, and Crawley are leading Stockport by 2 goals to 1. The goals as they go in on BBC Radio 5 Live. Champions League coverage here at Anfield. And Liverpool leading by a goal to nil through Mo Salah and his 4th goal of the season.
That was lovely from Thiago, wasn't it? Shaped it, go back and pass the ball to Van Dijk, one of his defenders. Tadic bought it and it went the other way and brought down opportunity for Liverpool from this free kick.
Alexander-Arnold leaves it for Tsimikas, curls it in. Been a clash between Blint and Fabinho off the ball. They've both gone to ground. It's hoisted diagonally ball. Van Dijk has stayed forward, only partially clears. Comes down to Luis Diaz, and on the half volley, just by the penalty spot, right-footed. He's dragged it wide of the left-hand post.
Yeah, and a shake of the head from Luis Diaz. It's a long ball from Tsimikas. High ball, looping ball. Van Dijk heads the ball back towards goal. Alvarez can't get the distance on the header, and Diaz on his chest near the penalty spot takes a touch and chokes the ball into the ground and wide. As the Ajax goal. Big chance for Liverpool.
Here is Elliott. When last week Thiago, again nicely done, Jota shoots from distance and he's pulled it 25 yards out, right-footed. But again, it was another chance. Liverpool are creating opportunities, and you can see the confidence starting to return to these Liverpool players.
Yeah, and I think a large part of that has been Thiago. Just that sharpness in midfield, driving past Alvarez, feeding the ball to Jota, who fires the ball on the half-turn initially, and fires the ball wide from 25 yards.
Well, last week, Jurgen Klopp, when he was referring to that performance in Naples, said it was a horror show. 8 of the 11 were below their level. You'd have said that it wouldn't have included Luis Diaz. It probably wouldn't have included young Harvey Elliott. And now you throw in Thiago, whose influence is clear for all to see in the midfield. And Liverpool just starting to get back into the stride that we know that they are capable of. goal at Ewood Park in the Championship. Lee Blakeman.
Has been coming. Blackburn 1, Watford 0. Good move down the right. Pulled back. Hedges fired it in from the edge of the area right on half-time. Blackburn 1, Watford 0.
And Swindon have equalised at home to Sutton in League Two. Swindon 1, Sutton 1. Ajax are attacking. Wrench coming forward, the right back. Finds Bergwijn, breaks away from him and in towards Allison.
Luis Diaz there just a little bit careless. What a ball that is from Allison.
Good distribution from the goalkeeper. He's picked out Jota, keeps it in play, down by the left-hand side, in towards the near post, and Blint had to track the run of Mo Salah. Last touch off Salah behind for a goal kick. Barrow leading Doncaster by a goal to nil in League Two. Barrow third this morning, 1-0 up at home there.
How good was that from Allison? The distribution on the volley finds Jota out on the left-hand side. He drives to near the byline and fires a ball across, and Mo Salah level with the near post, 6 yards out, can't find the target.
Headed away by Simicas. Thiago, little nudge from behind, was it, by Tadic? Referee says not, and he's given a throw. No, it's a free kick to Ajax, just inside their own half, as they play from left to right, trailing by a goal to nil. The other game, of course, in Group A, scheduled for tonight, but has been switched, pushed back for 24 hours. No away supporters will be allowed in Ibrox. Rangers taking on Napoli tomorrow, and then UEFA have decided that in the interest of fairness, no away supporters will be inside or allowed to travel to Naples for the return. But certainly opens it up a little bit now if Liverpool can get the 3 points, with then to come the back-to-back games against Steven Gerrard's former side after the international break, when football resumes in October. Berghuis to Bassi, now with Alvarez, back then to the goalkeeper Pasveer, trying to play out from the back, and Liverpool will press. They beat the press though, and Timber now brings it clear up towards the halfway line. Tadic, who's never scored actually against Liverpool in his club career, whether it be for Southampton or Ajax in 12 previous appearances. He's staying out wide on this right-hand side as Alvarez passes the ball to Daley Blind, looking for the run on that left-hand side, and the cross comes back and Bergwijn leaves it. Kudus gets the shot away and scores. Fine equaliser off his left foot, clipped the underside of the crossbar, just as they found in Naples last week a weakness down Liverpool's right-hand side, and Ajax profited, and Kudus with the equaliser 1-1.
Yep, Kudus to Kudus, but it's the midfield run of Berghuis on the Ajax left, the Liverpool right-hand side, which does for Liverpool. The ball popped out into the left-back position. Daley Blind feeds the ball on the outside of Alexander-Arnold, and then Berghuis is looking to find Bergwijn inside the box, but the ball eventually goes through to Kudus, and this is a devastating first touch, and the second touch into the back of the net, off the underside of the crossbar. It's a devastating finish, it really is. A brilliant finish from Kudus. Van Dijk backs away. Alisson isn't saving that, and really Ajax haven't deserved this on the balance of play, but they are level, and Liverpool and their vulnerability at the back this season once again exploited.
He's a 22-year-old attacking midfielder, but in the absence, or after the void left by Sebastian Haller, he was pushed further forward, and he is in a rich vein of form. Bearing in mind now he's scored in 4 successive games, that's 5 goals in those 4 games. He'd only scored 4 in the previous 27, the Ghanaian international. You can see certainly why Everton were keen to bring him to the Premier League, and one suspects they won't necessarily be alone. For a young man, 22 years of age, signed from Nordsjælland in Denmark 2 years ago. it was an emphatic finish. Liverpool won, Ajax won, but there will be once more concerns how they were able to get round the back of Alexander-Arnold.
Yes, it's a really good run from Berghuis, and the ball from Daley Blind out on the far touchline slid to the right-hand side of Arnold. Berghuis, who had run beyond him, should be tracked from a midfield runner there. He wasn't, and then Bergwijn couldn't quite get on the end of it. Boy, did kudos.
Swindon 2, Sutton 1, a latest score in League 2. We're back level pegging here at Anfield. Liverpool all in red, defending the Kop on a clear, mild night, which certainly wasn't the case when these two sides met in the late 60s. And Liverpool suffered a heavy defeat in Amsterdam. Played out in dense fog, so much so that the spectators couldn't actually see when some of the goals were scored on that particular night. Well, here they've seen a fine goal rattled in by Ajax, as Salah, who had given Liverpool the lead, was caught late, and that will be a free kick to the home side on this left-hand side, about 10 yards in from the left touchline. 1-1. We've been playing for half an hour.
Yeah, once again, brilliant distribution from Alisson. Spots Salah, who drifted out to the left-hand side. One long ball into Alisson's hands, and Salah wins the foul from Wrench, and another opportunity for Liverpool from a free kick. Haven't quite been on the money, have they, so far? Alexander-Arnold and Tsimikas over the ball.
Half an hour played, 1-1, 5 Live and BBC Sounds. Free kick on this, in from the left touchline. Tsimikas to take it. It's an outswinger. Which is Salah. Plays the ball to Elliott, 30 yards out from goal. Tries to get away from Kudus. Runs to the right corner of the area. Turns, sends over a cross, headed out by Bassi. Only as far as Alexander-Arnold! That would have been a special goal. A good 30 yards out, on the volley, right-footed. It was dipping, and it goes narrowly over the crossbar. Goalkeeper will say it had it covered. Goal kick, 1-1.
Yeah, Bassi, big header, must go 20-25 yards, and Alexander-Arnold in a central position. We've seen him strike them before. One touch to set the ball, one bounce, and then he thunders an effort. Not sure Pasveer was saving that, just over the Ajax crossbar.
Middlesbrough 0, Cardiff City 3 is the latest score in the Championship. Stoke City have got a second goal. Hull 0, Stoke City 2. Barnsley lead Port Vale 1-0 in League 1 at Oakwell. And it's now Swindon 2, Sutton United 2 in League 2. We've got about 13 minutes to go to half-time. 5 Live Sport. Bassi. Passes the ball back to his goalkeeper, able to take it onto his right foot, inside his 6-yard box and clear long. Headed forward by Van Dijk. Fabinho comes under pressure, loses out there in the midfield. Ooh, that was a nasty one. Thiago, though, getting back to his feet, which is a good sign. It was Jurrien Timber who'd gone in to what was certainly a firm challenge.
Yeah, it's a very strong challenge on Thiago, slightly late. I'm surprised the referee waved play on, but Liverpool in control of the ball.
Forest Green have equalised at the Valley. Charlton 1, Forest Green 1. A lot of those games now will be going into half-time, such as Swansea against the leaders, Sheffield United, as Alisson was almost caught very, very late there. He got away with a clearance. Laura Kenyon.
Swansea 0, Sheffield United 0. Both sides creating chances, but both sides lacking an end product. Sheffield United, the highest scorers too, but being held here on a rainy night in South Wales. It's 0-0.
1-1 here in the 33rd minute.
Yeah, what a piece of defending this is from Calvin Bassi. Luis Diaz looks like he's taken a couple of yards out of him, but Bassi is so quick. So quick, and gets back and makes the challenge when he looked beaten. Saw a lot of that at Rangers last season. He was phenomenal for them in the second half of the season, hence his big move to Ajax.
A runner-up in the Europa League, of course, with Rangers last season. Signed for just under £21 million. As here is Calvin Bassey. Berghuis quickly closed down by Elliott. Out of play it goes for a throw. One apiece it remains. Half-time now at Ewood Park. Lee Blakeman.
Blackburn 1, Watford 0. Great strike by Ryan Hedges separates the two teams. Blackburn have been on top before that, creating plenty. Watford without a single shot on target. Blackburn 1, Watford 0.
We've got just over 10 minutes to go to half-time. Alexander-Arnold brings the ball over the halfway line on that far side. Liverpool all in red, playing from right to left. Elliott to Salah, giving Liverpool the lead. Infield, Thiago, steps over the ball, nice dummy. Now it's with Tsimikas to curl the ball in, only partially headed away by Alvarez, headed back by Luis Diaz. Splint tucked in, quite a narrow back four. Van Dijk directs his header out to Elliott, prods it forward now to Salah, right hand side, enters the penalty area and will win a corner kick for Liverpool. Lovely again by Thiago, wasn't it?
He's been so exciting in this first half for Liverpool. Adds that something a little bit different as Daley Blind. He's not happy with this decision for the Liverpool corner. Mo Salah driving at him inside the box. He thinks it should have been a goal kick for Ajax.
Corner kick to Liverpool. It'll be an outswinger, far side the right. In it comes now. Van Dijk beaten out by the goalkeeper, and then it bounces back into his hands. I think it was off Jota. It was Van Dijk's downward header, and Pasveer was able to keep it out with just a reflex save, and then extremely fortunate to gather it in at the second attempt.
Yeah. Alvarez is holding on to Van Dijk, and as the flight to the ball, as the ball is coming over, he reads the flight to the ball so well. Van Dijk says, get off to Alvarez, and powers a header, which Pasveer does well to save. Maybe fortunate to gather at the second attempt.
Liverpool have created the better opportunities. Here is Fabinho. 30 yards out from goal, passes the ball out to the right-hand side to Alexander-Arnold, now towards Salah, right corner of the box, goes on the outside of Bassey towards the byline, cuts it back. Doesn't go out of play. Yes, it does. It will be a corner kick to Liverpool, says the assistant referee over on that far side. Liverpool looking to finish this half strongly, ideally looking to go back with some sort of an advantage in readiness of Jurgen Klopp's team talk. 1-1. Alexander-Arnold, 3 large paces back after placing the ball down in the quadrant on that far side. In it comes now, over everybody's head. He might have even picked up the supporter behind us. What was that? Either that or it was you.
No, he wasn't wrong. What was that from Trent Alexander-Arnold? Very unlike him. Van Dijk was unlucky the moments before. Textbook header back across Pasveer, but the keeper got down to his left-hand side and saved well.
Luis Diaz heads the ball out of play for a throw that Wrench will take on this near side for Ajax. As a cluster of their support right in the middle of that bottom tier of the Anfield Road end, are just jumping up and down as Bassey prods it out. Elliott half hits the ball forward. Luis Diaz, Timber clumsily brings him down, barges him from behind and gives Liverpool a free kick with 8 minutes to go to half-time. 1-1 on BBC Radio 5 Live. They take the free kick quickly, too quickly, and it's hooked away by Kudus.
Yeah, I don't mind that though from Thiago. He's been inventive in this first half. Take a quick free kick and catch the Ajax back line off guard.
A sliding Elliott keeps the ball in play on the right-hand side, now passes it forward, that forced Bassey to extend. They appeal for handball against Daley Blind. The referee didn't see it, unsighted, so play continues, and Berghuis lifts the ball up towards Taylor, cut out by Matip, and Liverpool are back in possession. Thiago strolling his way forward, always looks at ease with the ball at his feet. Luis Diaz enters the penalty area, goes down with an outstretched arm from Wrench, and it runs out of play for a goal kick, and it remains 1-1.
Yeah, I don't know that he was looking for a penalty there. Luis Diaz drives the outside. Wrench challenges him, and Diaz goes to ground. Good battle, that. See Jota come out to the left-hand side, and Diaz likes to go centrally as well. The referee just telling the Ajax goalkeeper Pasveer to liven himself up from the kick-outs.
Cleared away by Timber for the Ajax central defenders. Taylor's forward ball, tries to come back to him, loses the ball just inside the Liverpool half, now taken over by Elliott to Thiago. Back towards Elliott, forward of the centre circle, runs forward, passes the ball now out towards Salah, enters the box, backheels the ball. Joining the attack is Alexander-Arnold. He crosses, there was Tsimikas, only partially cleared. Tsimikas with his back to goal, finds Thiago, edge of the area, clips it in. Stretching to head it away was Alvarez. Still it remains in and around that penalty area for Ajax. Fabinho tries to get there. Here is Salah. Fabinho adjudged to have made a foul, and it'll be a free kick to Ajax with 5 minutes to go to half-time. Liverpool 1, Ajax 1. You're listening to the Champions League on 5 Live.
I think it's for a high boot from Fabinho. No, I think that's a harsh one. Hoogvine lets the ball run across him. Ajax couldn't clear the ball. Liverpool will feel hard done by with that decision.
Clearance from Pasveer, really good attacking header by Van Dijk. Rolling away was Timber. Wrench brings it away, he's done well, but quickly closed down by Fabinho. You think about Ajax in an attacking sense, they've really scored from their only effort at the Liverpool goal.
Surprised me a little bit their approach. You know, they like to dominate the ball, but they've defended deep. And Liverpool have had some pretty big chances in this game to go 2 up, but they haven't played through midfield with the confidence which I expected them to, but that's largely down to Liverpool's press.
Here is Wrench. First touch went away from him, came under pressure, ultimately loses the ball, but helped out by Bassi, who wins it back for Ajax, and then dug out by the goalkeeper, who clears long. Tadic doesn't get the better of his former teammate Van Dijk, easily held him off there. Ball though goes astray. Blind plays it forward, takes the deflection off the knees of Elliott, and now Alexander-Arnold plays it forward and finds Elliott on the halfway line. Had Taylor right up behind him, breathing down his neck. 4 minutes to go to half-time. Liverpool 1, Ajax 1 is still the latest score here at Anfield. Now it's with Van Dijk. Jota comes inside the Liverpool half to collect the ball. Tsimikas tried to roll away from Wrench, the right back. Andrew Robertson out with a knee injury. He will not be able to return until after the international break. Indeed, Liverpool don't, of course, play now with that game against Chelsea being postponed at the weekend, but not fit enough to take part in Scotland's forthcoming Nations League matches. As Luis Diaz finds Alexander-Arnold in the penalty area. Alexander-Arnold shoots at Pasveer, comes back to him, and Pasveer makes another save, turning behind Pasveer for a corner kick. Had 2 bites at it there, Alexander-Arnold.
Yeah, and we often see this from Luis Diaz. Doesn't stay out on the left-hand side, drifts inside in a central position, feeds the ball to Alexander-Arnold, who drives into the box, shapes the shoot with his right foot, sells Bassi, and then powers a left-footed shot, and Pasveer just stands up and hits him in the chest. And Ajax scramble the ball behind. Liverpool corner.
Eintracht Frankfurt are leading away in Marseille. That's Tottenham's group. Marseille 0, Eintracht Frankfurt 1. Liverpool have a corner kick. It's an in-swinger from the right-hand side. Alvarez heads it behind. And the talented Jesper Lindström has scored for Eintracht Frankfurt just before half-time. Tottenham, remember, losing in our earlier game in Lisbon by 2-0. So in front of the Anfield Road end, new stand that is taking shape. They have a corner kick. Tsimikas to take it. Van Dijk with a downward header. and just moving very quickly away to his left. In the end, not too extended, was Pasveer to make the save.
Yeah, but it's a left-footed outswinger, and Van Dijk on the penalty spot. I think it's Bergwijn actually who just nudges him as he leaps to head the ball, and Van Dijk tries to power the ball across Pasveer. See a nasty clash of heads there, Tadic and Van Dijk.
Tadic has stayed down, slamming his right hand on the turf. Van Dijk has stayed upright, but clearly feeling the effects of that clash. But Tadic is quite easily the one who's come worse off.
It's a really bad one. Van Dijk heads Tadic, former teammates. It's good to see him sitting up, whether there's any blood or not, but just the impact there.
Yeah,
the force which would have gone through Tadic's skull there.
Being tended to. Of course, de Kellenberg, the goalkeeper, would have played with Van Dijk at Southampton, and Luis Diaz and Conceição, although he's actually not involved, Francisco Conceição today, would have been teammates during their time together at Porto. So there's a number of players in the respective squads that will know each other quite well, as we are about to find out how much added on time there will be. Jurgen Klopp gives Tadic a pat on the back, and the former Southampton man, with a rub of the back of the head, looks like he's able to continue. As Liverpool 1, Ajax 1, we'll find out how much stoppage time there will be here from the Portuguese officials at Anfield.
That's a shambolic head check, though. I mean, it really is. Van Dijk clattered his head into the back of Tadic and barely checked.
A minimum of 60 seconds of additional time, which we're now into on 5 Live Sport. Bayern Munich 0, Barcelona 0 is a half-time score in Group C, where earlier Inter Milan beat the 10 men of Victoria Pilsen by 2 goals to 0. Here is Thiago, 1-1 here at Anfield. Infield, Jota with his back to goal, plays it back to Fabinho. Out it goes to Salah on that right side. Salah, forward to Alexander-Arnold. Salah waits. Ajax are just marshalling Liverpool away from their own penalty area. Little glance of the watch by the referee, puts his whistle in the mouth, and there is indeed the half-time whistle. So Liverpool 1, Ajax 1, Liverpool taking the lead through Mo Salah. The assist from Jota after 17 minutes. Luis Diaz and Jota both went close, and then Pasveer making saves from Van Dijk and a double save from Alexander-Arnold. But in between that, 10 minutes after Liverpool had taken the lead, Kudus with a fine goal to level. Chris Sutton.
Yeah, look, there's no doubt Liverpool have been the better side in this first half. They should go in ahead. They haven't been. They've missed opportunities. Salah put them ahead. Heavy first touch, nice finish, but then just switched off, didn't they? Liverpool at the back. Berghuis got the run and the cross, and Kudus with a devastating finish. 1-1 at the break. I don't think Liverpool deserve that.
But it remains Liverpool's problem area. So half-time here at Anfield, Kelly. Liverpool 1, Ajax 1.
Thank you, Deno. Chris, the introduction of Thiago, the return of Thiago, seems to have balanced Liverpool's midfield a little better, and certainly he's had a very good game. But the issues defensively, the issues up front, despite the fact that Liverpool have scored in this game, continue.
Yes, to some extent. I think Jurgen Klopp
they're not finishing their chances.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Jurgen Klopp will be sort of happy with the first half performance, but as you say, you know, they've had opportunities, they haven't taken them, and then they've been hit with I think that was their only shot on target, Ajax, in the first half.
And it was a lovely finish as well.
It was a brilliant finish, devastating finish from Kudus, but Ajax haven't threatened enough, and Liverpool have pretty much dominated that half, but they'll be scratching their heads how this is 1-1, and probably as systematic of Liverpool's season so far. Performance-wise, it's been okay. I think you're right about Thiago. They've missed his creativity. He's always looking to play forward, and he's been exciting in the first half. I think Mo Salah, that goal would have done him the world of good, but hasn't quite clicked in the final third at times with some of the combinations. But when you think about the chances they've had, Salah from 6 yards past the post, Alexander-Arnold worked to position beautifully onto his left foot and fired the ball straight at Pazvir when he should have scored. Luis Diaz with the effort from 12 yards where he pulled the shot wide. They have opportunities, they haven't been clinical, and that's why they're not ahead at half-time.
I know you were saying about Ajax in commentary that it wasn't quite their normal game. It was a bit more defensive, a bit more back foot than we're used to seeing from them. Given that Liverpool go in at the break at 1-1, and we expect that Ajax will improve and maybe we'll see closer to what we expect from Ajax in the second half, this could be a tricky next 45 for Liverpool.
Yes, it certainly could be. I think credit to Liverpool. Ajax haven't been good enough to beat Liverpool's press. I think they've done it once or twice in the first half, but Liverpool have been really well organised. Ajax haven't been brave enough to play through the midfield, and in many ways Pazvir's resorted to kicking long balls up, and Van Dijk is always going to win those duels with kudos. Look, Liverpool can play better, but I think in terms of a performance, it has been there. I think Klopp will be encouraged, but of course the second half, we do expect more from Ajax, but maybe if they come onto Liverpool, then Liverpool have the players to hit them on the counter, and some of Alisson's kickouts have been absolutely on a couple of occasions. I think one to Jota and one to Mo Salah. I mean, he's so sharp and accurate, Alisson is, when the ball is in his hands with those long balls up the pitch for Liverpool.
So Liverpool needed to improve on the performances so far this season, and it looks like they've done that to a certain extent at Anfield in the Champions League this evening. They're 1-1 against Ajax. We'll be back with Chris Sutton and with Ian Dennis very, very shortly. In the meantime, we're going to check in on what's happening elsewhere in the Champions League with John Bennett.
Yes, a big game in Group C. Bayern Munich 0, Barcelona 0 at half-time. It's the open, entertaining game we all expected, but what we didn't expect, Kelly, was for Robert Lewandowski to miss chances against his old club. 4 good opportunities. His old teammate Manuel Neuer passed to him accidentally in his own box. He couldn't take advantage. He had a half volley over from 8 yards. A header well saved. Mazraoui also made a last-ditch tackle to prevent him scoring. Barca have had the best chances. Bayern not controlling things, but it's still 0-0. In Group B, Club Brugge have never made it out of the group stage. Is this their year? They beat Bayer Leverkusen last week, and at half-time it's FC Porto 0, Club Brugge 1. A penalty from Jutgla, and the former Liverpool keeper Mignolet made a great save to deny Pepe. In the same group, it's Bayer Leverkusen 0, Atletico Madrid 0. And finally, in Tottenham's group, a late goal just before half-time. Jesper Lindstrom with a goal from close range after a mistake by Marseille's Eric Bailly. It's Marseille 0, Eintracht Frankfurt 1.
John Bennett, thank you very much. John's keeping us across all things Champions League this evening. Busy night as well in the Championship. They're into the second half in Swansea City against Sheffield United. Laura Kenyon.
Still goalless and back underway after a lengthy stoppage. Arnel Akhmedovic, in an attempted overhead kick, caught Carl Norton in the face. A yellow card shown for the Sheffield United player. Norton back up after receiving treatment, and it's Swansea 0, Sheffield United 0.
And at Ewood Park, it's Blackburn against Watford. Lee Blakeman.
Blackburn leading Watford 1-0, but it should be 2 or 3, Kelly. It really should, because Ben Brereton Diaz had a shot brilliantly saved early doors in this game, and Tyrese Dolan saw an effort from the edge of the penalty area, tipped over as well. Couple of minutes gone in the second half. Blackburn on top, leading Watford 1-0.
Most of the game's 7:45 this evening. Elsewhere in the Championship, Huddersfield are 1-0 down at home to Wigan. Hull are trailing 2-0 at home to Stoke. It's Middlesbrough 0, Cardiff 3, and it's half-time in the only 8 o'clock kickoff of the evening. Preston 1, Burnley 1. Into League One, Barnsley 1-0 up at home to Port Vale. Goal is between Burton and Portsmouth. It's Charlton 1, Forest Green 1. Cheltenham 0, Cambridge 1. Ipswich 1, Bristol Rovers 0. Lincoln 1, Derby 0. MK Dons 0, Bolton 1. Morecambe and Sheffield Wednesday goalless. Peterborough 1-0 down at home to Fleetwood. Plymouth 0, Oxford 0, Shrewsbury 2, Exeter 2, and at half-time it's Wickham 1, Accrington 0. In League 2, Wimbledon 1-0 down at home to Northampton. Barrow leading Doncaster by 1-0. Crawley 2, Stockport 1, Grimsby 1, Gillingham 1. Harrogate are 0-0 against Salford. It's Hartlepool 1, Crewe 0. Mansfield 0, Carlisle 0. Rochdale 0, Leyton Orient 1. Stevenage 1, Newport 0. Swindon 2, Sutton 2. Tranmere have just equalised against Bradford. It's 1-1 in that game now. Walsall 0, Colchester 1. And in the National League, Altrincham 1-0 up against Scunthorpe. Barnet are trailing by 1-0 at home to Dorking. Boreham Wood 0, Maidenhead 0. Chesterfield down to 10 men and they trail Southend by 2-1. Eastleigh 0, Yeovil 1. Goalless between Halifax and Gateshead and Maidstone and Wealdstone. No goals either between Notts County and Aldershot. It's Torquay 1, Solihull Moors 2. Woking 2, Oldham 0. Wrexham 2, Dagenham and Redbridge 0. And York 0, Bromley 1. We'll keep you up to date with everything that's happening across the EFL and the National League. It's all over as well in the Women's T20. Emily Windsor has the result.
Yep, unfortunately, India have beaten England by 8 wickets. Earlier, England posted 142 for 6 from their 20 overs, including a first international 50 from 17-year-old Freya Kemp. In reply, India dominated with Smriti Mandhana 79 off 53 balls to win by 8 wickets. The 3-match series is now level 1-1 with the series decider on Thursday at Bristol at 6:30 p.m. and it's set to be a belter.
Emily, thank you very much for that. We will continue with our coverage of the Champions League this evening. We'll be back at Anfield for the second half of Liverpool against Ajax. It's 1-1 at half-time. Second half coming up after the BBC News with Jill Mackenzie.
Thank you, good evening. The Queen's coffin has arrived at Buckingham Palace, where the royal family gathered to receive it. Princess Anne accompanied her mother from Edinburgh to London and said it had been an honour and a privilege to do so. The coffin will stay at the palace overnight before being moved to Westminster Hall tomorrow afternoon, where it will lie in state for 4 days. More than 1 million people are expected in London over the next week. The London Transport Commissioner is Andy Byford.
This is the biggest challenge that TfL has ever faced. Obviously, we had the Olympics in 2012, which was itself a huge occasion, but there we knew exactly what was happening, when it was happening, and how many people were attending. There are so many variables.
Earlier, King Charles III said he'd follow the shining example of his late mother on his first visit to Northern Ireland as monarch. He and the Queen Consort, Camilla, met politicians and religious leaders, as well as people who'd lined the streets to greet the royal couple. Brenda and Frankie arrived at Hillsborough Castle early this morning.
We wanted to show the King our support and just let him know the people from Northern Ireland's 100% behind him in his new role.
Well, I hope he'll be a great monarch for as a king, because he has a teacher. His mother was a teacher and has learned him.
Ukrainian forces are continuing their counter-offensive in northeastern Ukraine, having driven out Russian troops from large expanses of territory in recent days. Officials say more than 300 towns and villages have now been liberated. The family of Chris Carber, who was killed during a police operation in South London last week, say the officer who shot him should have been suspended sooner. The Independent Office for Police Conduct began a homicide investigation 4 days after the 24-year-old rapper died. But Mr Carber's family say there was no urgency. The Met Police says the decision was made after careful consideration, including the impact on public confidence. And Centre Parcs says it will shut its 5 UK sites on the day of the Queen's funeral, meaning people will have to leave their lodges for 24 hours in the middle of their holiday or miss a day from the start or end of their break. Visitors have complained and asked to be allowed to stay on site.
This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
On 5 Live this evening, we're continuing very shortly with second half commentary of Liverpool against Ajax in the Champions League. It's match day 2 and it's 1-1 between those sides. The next 45 to come in about 5 minutes or so. Earlier, Tottenham lost 2-0 away in Lisbon. They conceded both goals in injury time. We'll hear from Antonio Conte after 10 o'clock. And of course, there'll be lots more reaction in the Football Daily podcast, which you can download from BBC Sounds. Big boxing news today. Anthony Joshua has accepted Tyson Fury's terms. for an all-British heavyweight fight in December. We can bring in 5 Live Boxing's Steve Bunce. Buncey, it's on. It's the fight everyone's been waiting for.
Kelly, you know better than to say a fight's on until you hear the first bell and the men coming out of opposite corners.
Do you know what? I heard you on Drive earlier, and you used the phrase several times, this might be too good to be true.
Only because 2 weeks ago, nobody was even talking about this fight. Nobody was even thinking about this fight. And then Tyson Fury threw it out there as an idea. And Anthony Joshua said, OK, send me the terms. Some terms were sent over. And then Fury said, I'll give you 60-40. So AJ said, and AJ's people said, OK, we'll have a little think about it. They've had a little think about it. And it turns out that last Friday, when negotiations stopped out of respect for the death of the Queen, during Friday, Saturday and Sunday, people talked, people met, people discussed it. And lo and behold, this morning at about 11 o'clock, the group behind Anthony Joshua, that's 258 Management and Eddie Hearn on behalf of Matchroom, said, we've agreed terms. Frank Warren instantly replied on social media, contracts basically on its way.
So
that was about 10 hours ago. But as far as we know, this fight's made.
But what are the, I mean, you said 60-40, but then what do you think that the terms are? And could it be a fight in the UK? Because even if it's 60-40, they'll want 60-40 over a huge pot, won't they?
60-40 of a huge pot. This will all be down to pay-per-view and what other people pay to watch it in various territories around the world. And we are told, and my gut feeling is, and no one's told me,
Buncey, you're just coming in and out. Just start again. Nobody's told you what did you say?
No, but nobody's told me different. People have told me that this fight will be in Wales, in Cardiff, where Tyson Fury was booked to fight on the 17th of December. That was in the book. That was going to happen. That stadium's booked. It's been brought forward to the 3rd for whatever reason, and we're told it'll be in Cardiff, underneath the roof, 80-odd thousand people. That's what we're hearing. It is, and I'm going to use the expression again, it's too good to be true.
But look, Anthony Joshua obviously wants to make a statement after the defeat by Usyk, but Fury was expected to face Usyk in that undisputed fight in December. That doesn't affect this, does it? Or it might affect his focus.
Well, if let's put it this way, if Anthony Joshua were to beat Tyson Fury, it certainly affects Fury's chances of fighting Usyk in some massive fight next April or May. A couple of things quickly. No, it doesn't affect it. This is the first fight, and hopefully the winner of this has a massive showdown with Usyk next year.
Thank you, Steve Bunce. Thank you very much for that. As Buncey said, possibly too good to be true, but as things stand, it is all going forward, and it looks like this fight could be on between Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury, potentially in Cardiff. We'll keep an eye on that one, and Buncey will be across everything. And of course, you can also always listen to the 5 Live Boxing podcast with Steve Bunce. Meanwhile, Liverpool went 1-0 up against Ajax, but it wasn't quite the knockout blow they hoped it might be. Ajax got back into it with a really good finish from Kudus. It is 1-1 at half-time. The Ajax players just making their way out of the tunnel. The Liverpool players waiting for them on the pitch. So with you for the second half at Anfield, it's Chris Sutton and Ian Dennis.
Thank you, Kelly. I can tell you that Liverpool haven't made any changes. Alisson in goal, Alexander-Arnold, Matip, Van Dijk and Tsimikas, Thiago, Fabinho and Elliott, the midfield 3, Salah, Jota and Luis Diaz. All in red. Second half will be playing from left to right, therefore attacking the Kop. Ajax has lovely ovation for Remco Pasveer as he makes his way to the Kop. He's all in blue. Ajax in their change strip, the cream shirts and the black shorts, and they get us back underway, playing from right to left, attacking the Anfield Road end with Pasveer in goal. The back four of Alvarez almost getting caught in possession inside his own penalty area. Rensch, Timber, Bassi and Blint. Although, just looking at the way they've started the second half, Alvarez almost has dropped back there. It's almost they're playing the 3 central defenders. Here is Elliott coming forward, out now towards Tsimikas. Shot takes a deflection. Then they've got Berghaus, Taylor, Bergwijn, Kudus, the goal scorer, and Tadic. So I don't know whether that was...
It's one to watch, isn't it?
It is, yeah. I mean, he is more than capable, the Mexican international, of either being a central defender or a defensive midfielder. Liverpool have a corner, far side, headed out by Kudus. Played back by Luis Diaz, out to Tsimikas, level with the area, left-hand side. Now sends in a cross towards the near post, and it's a cushioned clearance by Wrench. And then kept in play by Luis Diaz, but actually presents Bergwijn, the former Tottenham player, with an opportunity to scuttle his way forward. He's pulled it back to Kudus, who goes to ground. The referee says no penalty. Arthur Diaz, the Portuguese referee, kept up play superbly there, had an excellent view. Meanwhile, Liverpool are attacking. Jota carries it to the edge of the area. Jota still going. Jota shoots straight at the goalkeeper. Chance is it, one end to the other, and back to the Kop once more. 1-1.
Absolutely, but Bergwijn runs away from the Liverpool back line, feeds the ball. It was Thiago who he gets away from, feeds the ball to Kudus, who tries to win a penalty, throws himself to the floor, and then the ball straight down the other end, and Jota manoeuvres the ball brilliantly on the edge of the box and shoots from 16, 17 yards. He'll be disappointed with the finish because it's straight at Pasveer.
Porto 0, Bruges 2 is the latest score in the Champions League. That's in Group B. By Leverkusen and Atletico Madrid still drawing, but Bruges have got a second goal, so they're looking to make it 2 wins out of 2. Remember earlier, Tottenham Hotspur were beaten 2-0 away to Sporting Lisbon. We'll actually have Tottenham's next game against Leicester City on Saturday evening as part of 5 Live Sport with Mark Chapman on air from midday. Ipswich 2, Bristol Rovers 0 is the latest score in League One. Ipswich, leaders of League One, unbeaten still and going very, very well. Here is Elliott.
Just wonder
back to Allison.
Yeah, just going back to Kudus throwing himself to the floor. What an opportunity that would have been. Should have taken the shot on. It's a warning for Liverpool again. This Ajax team on the break.
Here is Jota. The referee gives a free kick. There was a foul coming in from Alvarez. Thiago's taken it. He finds Salah, right corner of the area. You're listening to BBC Radio 5 Live. As Elliott will take a throw on this near side, the right. 3.5 minutes into the second half. Now he leaves it for Alexander-Arnold. Luis Diaz, right corner of the area, back to Elliott on this touchline, dancing around the ball, passes it forward towards the byline, towards Salah, does well to keep the ball in play. Salah then loses the ball. Taylor, the fair-haired midfielder, will win a goal kick off the shins of young Harvey Elliott, and Pasveer to take it. You think about the traditions and the history of these two clubs in European competition. This is Liverpool's 27th season just in Europe's elite competition, and for Ajax it's their 39th season either in the European Cup or the Champions League. 10 times they've won it between them. Ajax's first success was actually in England against Panathinaikos back in 1971. Bayern Munich are leading Barcelona by a 1-0. Remember, Inter Milan earlier beat Victoria Pilsen 2-0 in the early game as Blint heads it back to Pasveer. And now in Germany, Bayern are leading Barca 1-0. It was just a temporary thing, wasn't it, by the way? Alvarez has continued just to sit in front of that back four. It's a loose ball, and that'll be a free kick. That was Timber with the foul.
It's a couple of times now, isn't it?
It is, yeah. You took the words right out of my mouth.
Very fortunate, once again, not to see a yellow card there. I've actually been disappointed with Ajax at the back, with really careless with some of the passes into midfield. Not been as slick as they normally are.
Well, this free kick at 1-1 on BBC Radio 5 Live is for Liverpool, and it's midway through the Ajax half. They're playing from left to right. 2 full-backs stand over it. I would imagine that it will be Alexander-Arnold to whip it in with his right foot. Quite a high line from the Ajax players to offer as much protection. Indeed, it's Tsimikas who curls it in, and Van Dijk gets his head on it. 8 yards out, couldn't keep his header down. Fooled everybody. Goal kick, 1-1.
Yep, as soon as you said Alexander-Arnold to take that, I knew Tsimikas would. Van Dijk wayward with the header.
Yeah. It's funny on 606, whenever you say something, I know that the truth has been spoken by Robbie Savage. Works both ways. Hull City 0, Stoke City 3 is a latest score in the Championship. Liverpool patiently have the ball at the back with Van Dijk, casually stroked towards Matip. One of 4 changes made after that heavy defeat in Naples last week. Alexander-Arnold finds Jota, forces the ball out wide to Salah, won't keep the ball in play. What was it? Heaviest defeat in Europe for 56 years for Liverpool. Just got the impression that a draw wouldn't be good enough for them.
No, in truth, from what I've seen of Rangers this season, Bassey's been a big loss for them defensively, Aribo. But you would expect Liverpool to certainly beat Rangers at Anfield. Rangers a different proposition at Ibrox. Liverpool have work to do. They really need to win this.
Bruges have got a 3rd goal in the Dragao Stadium. Porto 0, Bruges 3. Liverpool in this second half haven't had that same fluency as they started the first half. It just seems to be a little bit more disjointed.
Yep, and just not quite coming off, is it, that in the final third, that little bit of quality they need. We see not the easiest ball from Matip to Alexander-Arnold, just bounces in front of Alexander-Arnold and goes out for a throw into Ajax.
Kudus passes the ball back to Bassey. Bassey decides to bring it forward and sprays the ball with his left foot out towards Wrench on the halfway line. Tadic offside.
It's a terrible run.
Right in front of the assistant referee.
Yeah. It's a high line from Liverpool. And that high line has been a problem for them this season. And Ajax may feel that there'll be opportunities in this second half. What a ball that is.
Right the way forward towards Alexander-Arnold, who's the most advanced player, right-hand side of the penalty area. Now backheels the ball to Salah, gets a little touch, finds Elliott outside the area. Elliott goes with a curler off his left foot, but there wasn't really much pace on the ball, and it was a comfortable save for the goalkeeper at head height for Pasveer.
Let's talk about the run from Alexander-Arnold and the pass from Virgil van Dijk. What, 60-70 yards? Alexander-Arnold making a movement in between the left back Blind and Bassey, the Ajax centre half.
Lincoln City 2, Derby County 0 is the latest score in League One. I was reading today that that's Derby's 5,000th match in the Football League, and Lincoln at Sincilbank have got a 2nd goal as Ajax with Bassey in possession. Timber goes back to Bassey, edge of his area, now towards the goalkeeper in front of the Kop, tries to beat the press. Alvarez is the outlet, able to turn to Tadic just outside the centre circle, into the centre circle, and Matip quickly seized upon that. His forward ball though was blocked. It was actually in a very important block by Alvarez, and a free kick has been awarded by the Portuguese referee to Ajax. So 10 minutes into the second half, and it's still 1-1. Liverpool have always got to be mindful of the threat that Ajax possess. We've seen that with the way that they equalised with such a clinical finish, as now the ball is crossed towards Bergwijn. Brought down on his chest, former Tottenham player, left corner of the area, leaves it now for Daley Blind. Now to Taylor, going away from the penalty area. And they're predominantly cream shirts. And now it's with Timber back towards Bassey. Wimbledon 0, Northampton Town 2, a latest score in League 2. Ajax give the ball away. Alexander-Arnold to Luis Diaz. Timber comes across and gets there first and has the ball under control.
And there's Alvarez, just done that quite often, hasn't he, in this game, just dropping in alongside or in between Timber and Bassi and picking up the ball and trying to make the play. Once again, this half they've struggled to play through Liverpool. There's that long ball from Pazvir trying to hit the front man. Does so on this occasion.
Handball from Kudos. That'll be a free kick to Liverpool. Let's get an update from Blackburn Watford in the Championship at Ewood Park. Lee Blakeman.
Blackburn 1, Watford 0. Watford thought they were level. Christian Kabasele, side foot finish inside the penalty area. Offside flag up on this near side. That's the closest Watford have come, and we've got 20 minutes to go. Blackburn 1, Watford 0.
Alvarez caught by Luis Diaz. That'll be a free kick. He's gone down. He's in pain inside his own penalty area. What about the leaders, Sheffield United, down in South Wales? Laura Kenyon.
Swansea 0, Sheffield United 0. Creativity aplenty, but neither side able to find the back of the net. Swansea more than holding their own against the league leaders here. After 72 minutes, it's 0-0.
As far as League One is concerned, Plymouth Argyle are leading by a goal to 0. They've just taken the lead at home to Oxford United. They were third, but Portsmouth, who are second, are still leading at Burton Albion by a goal to 0, and the leaders Ipswich Town remain 2-0 up, so nothing will change at the top of League One tonight with the results as they are. This is the Champions League on 5 Live. Tomorrow, Manchester City, Borussia Dortmund at the Etihad. We'll have coverage on BBC Radio 5. Don't forget, Rick and Rachel in the morning with breakfast from 6 through till 9, and then from around 1:45 tomorrow, the coverage of procession to the lying in state of Queen Elizabeth II from 1:45 on BBC Radio 5 Live, and a slightly earlier time following that with Drive coming on air at 3:30. Sheffield Wednesday leading Morecambe by a goal to 0. That's in League One. Sheffield Wednesday play Ipswich at the weekend. There'll be a big crowd, I would think, at Hillsborough for that one, as Elliott tries to get Jota around the right-hand side, cleared away by Alvarez, so effective in that defensive midfield, just shielding from the back four. Ajax, at times in the first half, Chris Sutton, you felt they were stretched. Not necessarily that same levels of anxiety in this second half for the Dutch team.
No. But, you know, Liverpool with that high press, can Ajax beat the press? And they've just been a little bit careless. Once again, Timber giving the ball away, and Liverpool are onto them, and Alvarez has to see yellow for that. He does see yellow. A really reckless challenge on Jota. Ball into Jota, who plays the ball round the corner to Elliott, and Alvarez follows through, takes him out.
Yeah, very, very clumsy from the experienced Mexican international. He is indeed shown a yellow card. Nearly an hour played at Anfield, 1-1. Thiago chips the ball into the penalty area. Matip with a downward header. Salah at the far post. Blind slides back, but the referee has already said it will be a goal kick.
Well, Blind does brilliantly. Really spots the danger well, as Thiago just hangs the ball up to Van Dijk, who plants a header back across the 6-yard line, and Salah looked like he was onto it, but Blind using all his experience and clears the ball onto Salah to safety.
4 seasons he spent at Old Trafford as Ajax are attacking, and Tadic trying to get away from Tsimikas, who had to be alert there to come across and to deal with it, and has done well. A left-back primarily operating in a right-back area because Alexander-Arnold was forward. Tsimikas was alert. Good defending. Liverpool now look to attack, still at 1-1 in the Champions League. Luis Diaz with a searching diagonal ball. Salah tries to take it in his stride. Bassi holds him off. Tangled, and then Bassi just throws Salah to the ground.
You can't do that, come on. I mean, that has to be a free kick to Liverpool. It's not awarded. Mo Salah furious. You can hear the boos and the jeers within the stadium.
If you haven't seen Calvin Bassey before, he's a big, burly defender, and he just shrugs that Salah off with one throw of the left arm.
Yeah, but there's levels of force, and that was overzealous from Batty.
Tsimikas on his natural left side now. Luis Diaz hopping in front of the referee. Liverpool keep the ball. Over an hour played.
What was worrying at the other end, you think that it was Tadic who nearly got in off a quick throw in for Ajax, and Tsimikas did really well, didn't he? Nicked the ball off Tadic and eventually got the ball to safety. Liverpool have to be switched on alert at the back.
Here is Luis Diaz. He's going to shoot from distance, is he? Steadied himself not once but twice. It was a low right-footed effort. Struck the legs of Timber. Goes out then towards Tsimikas, now on the left-hand side level of the area. And Tsimikas plays the ball back. This is Thiago running forward now. Threads it forward. Luis Diaz central area to Elliott, side on to goal. Gets it out from underneath his feet. Alexander-Arnold on the right. He goes square. Interception from Taylor. Liverpool try and retrieve it. Bergwijn caught by Matip.
He's got to go in the book for that.
Matip will get a yellow card.
It's really brilliant from Bergwijn. Relieves the pressure for Ajax. It was Taylor who plays a little 10-yard pass into him. Bergwijn knows Matip is going to try and nick the ball in front of him and rolls him. Wins the free kick. Matip under a little bit of pressure now.
When they met in the group stages in 2020, Liverpool won both matches by 1-0. The goal here at Anfield was scored by Curtis Jones. His first goal in European competition. Liverpool are looking to try and retake the lead. Tsimikas, left-hand side, drills it in low. Bassi deals with a threat of Jota. Up into the air it goes. Luis Diaz hits it low. Blocked then. Ajax funnel out of their penalty area as the ball is back on the halfway line. The Liverpool crowd respond, trying to urge Liverpool forward. You can hear the response from the Anfield faithful. Alisson. Now with Van Dijk. Thiago. Still quite a high line from that defence. Taylor's dropped back now as well because Alexander-Arnold is inverted.
So high, yeah.
And he's gone forward into that advanced role as Elliott skips out of one challenge by Taylor, who was combative in the second challenge. Jota slips. Fabinho wins the ball back, finds Salah in the area. Salah can't take it past the goalkeeper, flags up. Elliott hits the side netting anyway.
Well, the flag was sort of up, wasn't it? He takes the flag down. The assistant, bit of uncertainty there. But Pazvir does brilliantly, because as the ball eventually comes through to Mo Salah, it's a very tight one. Mo Salah tries to take it round him. Pazvir actually pinches the ball off him with his left foot, but Liverpool look like they're going to make changes. But chance gone for Liverpool.
The offside, had it been for Salah, would have been very, very tight. It would have been one for the semi-automated VAR that's in operation in the group stages this year. As a double change, Darwin Núñez, who actually knocked Ajax out of the Champions League last season whilst he was playing for Benfica. He scored the only goal in Amsterdam. And Firmino are the two players who are going to be coming on as Liverpool get ready to make a double change for what is their final game before the international break. Not playing at the weekend after that match against Chelsea was postponed. As Ajax attack down that far side there right, and the ball is put out of play for an Ajax throw down by the corner flag. 65 minutes we've been playing here. Bradford City are back in front at Prenton Park. Tranmere 1, Bradford City 2. Ajax have a throw. There are no other goals to tell you about, as Middlesbrough, in fact, have just got a goal back. In fact, Middlesbrough have scored twice in the space of 2 minutes. So it's now Middlesbrough 2, Cardiff City 3 in the Championship. Firmino and Núñez wait to come on. You're listening to 5 Live here at Anfield as the ball is spread out to Bergwijn. Bergwijn off his thighs, runs forward, doesn't get the better of Alexander-Arnold. The referee, all in black, then even had a little slip on the greasy surface. Luis Diaz has done wonderfully well to keep the ball in play. Left-hand side, he's round the back, he's into the penalty area. Luis Diaz goes for goal himself. Closed down, ball goes behind for a corner kick, 1-1.
Sensational from Diaz. It's a raking diagonal ball from Trent Alexander-Arnold. Must have gone 60, 70 yards. Looks like it's going out for a throw-in. Diaz not only keeps the ball in, but he lures Wrench in and then drives into the box, and Timber super alert to clear the danger.
The double change then for Nunez and Firmino is Harvey Elliott and Jota, his first start. Jota had only played 38 minutes with his 2 substitute appearances before tonight, and Harvey Elliott makes way. Corner kick to Liverpool. It's an outswinger from the left. It was Firmino who got half a touch on that. Salah under pressure from Taylor. Passes the ball back to Alexander-Arnold. Plays it forward. Teed up towards Matip. Van Dijk. Nobody really wanted to have a go. It was unfortunate it fell to the 2 central defenders. Tsimikas twisting and turning. Left-hand side delivers the cross. Nunez was there and his header's off target, and it's a goal kick as we approach the midway point in the second half on 5 Live, and still Liverpool 1, Ajax 1.
Yeah, wry smile in his technical area from Jurgen Klopp. Absolutely spot on, Ian. Nobody wanted to shoot as the ball was popped back to Matip. He could have got a shot off 16 yards out, didn't take responsibility. He pops it out to Van Dijk, who takes a touch, and the chance gone. And now is it Wrench down for Ajax? A little bit of cramp, maybe just trying to run the clock down.
Sheffield Wednesday 4th in League One, so the top 4 in League One are all winning. Morecambe, who are next to bottom and yet to win, have conceded a second. So Morecambe 0, Sheffield Wednesday 2. Huddersfield Town 4 without a win, have equalised at home to Wigan, that's 1-1. And Barrow are leading Doncaster by 2-0. And that is in League 2. And whilst I was reading out those scores, there's been a change made by Alfred Schroeder, 49-year-old Ajax coach who took Bruges to the Belgian title last year after taking over in January. Previously a number 2 to Erik ten Hag at Ajax in the year that they reached the last 4 of the Champions League before Tottenham beat them. Epic 48 hours after Liverpool's unforgettable victory here against Barcelona the previous night. Tsimikas keeps the ball in play, left-hand side of the penalty area, down by the byline, comes back to Nunez. Liverpool all in red, playing from left to right. Back out to Tsimikas it goes, holding the width on that left touch line. Thiago doesn't really break his stride as he runs in field with the ball. Matip joins the attack, edge of the area, still going, enters the D, cleared away then by Alvarez, dropping back once more.
Could have taken a shot on again, Matip, but as it was on his weaker left foot, elected not to.
Tsimikas with a cross claimed by... So it was Sanchez who's come on, wasn't it?
Yep.
The Mexican.
I think Renshaw, he was the player who went down, whether it was cramp or whether there was a muscle injury. It's Renshaw and Sanchez, quite right, Mexican international on.
Signed him for £4.5 million from Club America in the summer. Made his debut last month against Utrecht. 21 caps for Mexico for a 24-year-old. But just over 20 minutes remaining.
I had him down as 25 caps. But
well, who's going to argue about 3 caps?
One of us is wrong. There's 4 caps.
Told him my maths was bad. Matip clears long. Timber heads it away. Let's get an update from Ewood Park. Lee Blakeman.
Blackburn 2, Watford 0. Corner swung in from the right, and there was Dom Hyam at the back post to double Blackburn's lead. That should be the match. Blackburn 2, Watford 0.
And we'll go to Swansea with Laura.
0, Sheffield United 0. The league leaders being held in South Wales. Former Swansea man Rhian Brewster close with a header wide for Sheffield United, but with less than 5 minutes to go, it's 0-0.
Yeah, I was right. Says there, 21 caps. There's Salah out towards Alexander-Arnold. The referee, though, has brought play back and has given a free kick against Liverpool for a challenge from Fabinho. Free kick inside the centre circle for Ajax.
I'll have to check that with my own statistician.
Well, don't worry, I trust mine. Here is Bergwijn. Liverpool facing a big 19 minutes here in the Champions League, being held at home by Ajax. There's Sanchez. Caught by Simicas. Clears. Nunez on the halfway line, tries to lay it back. Berghuis looking for a ball around the middle, around the back. It's got there. This is Kudos, steadies himself. Alisson stands tall on his near post. It was a late flag. Wouldn't have counted anyway, maybe. But Alisson was equal to it.
Frustration from the Liverpool defenders. Virgil van Dijk not happy. Kudos is a good yard offside. Should have been flagged, but the assistants are told not to flag. But that ball came from Nunez being really careless with his first touch. If in doubt, take 2 touches. Needs to hold the ball in better. I've been a surprise to a few Liverpool fans tonight to see Jota starting ahead of Nunez.
Luis Diaz has given the ball away. From 123 it passes to another, but Berghuis unable to get further forward for Ajax, cleared by Alisson. Morecambe 0, Sheffield Wednesday 3. Crew have equalised at Hartlepool. It's 1-1 in League 2, and Wigan are back in front in the Championship at Huddersfield. Huddersfield 1, Wigan 2. But a free kick goes in favour of Ajax deep inside their own half. 18 minutes remaining. At times in the first half you felt that Liverpool were creating chances. There was a threat there. It's only been sporadic really in this second half, hasn't it, from the home team?
It has, and you said it. Big last 20 minutes, down to 17, 18 minutes now. Liverpool have to find a way to win this game, but you just sense Ajax, the way they've broken out at times, can they go on and win it?
Alexander-Arnold wins the ball from Taylor, runs forward, now towards Salah. Salah tries to cross the ball with the outside of his left boot, hits the legs of Blind, goes behind for a corner kick in front of the Kop. Port Vale have equalised at Oakwell. Barnsley 1, Port Vale 1.
And Thiago trying to lift the Kop, rouse them up. But it's up to the players to do it, isn't it? Players in red.
It is. 17 minutes remaining. Playing from left to right. Corner right-hand side, swung over by Alexander-Arnold, and Matip it was 6 yards out, couldn't keep his header down over the top of the crossbar and out for a goal kick, and it remains 1-1.
What a chance! What a chance for Matip. 6 yards out, free header, and he just powers the ball over the Ajax bar. He can't play through Ajax as Batty. It's a good press from Liverpool, that's what they have done well. When Ajax have had the ball at the back, they've really put them under pressure, made it very difficult for Ajax to play out, but they've just lacked that quality in the final third. Thiago hasn't been as effective in this second half.
That's the familiar voice of Chris Sutton on BBC Radio 5 Live with 16 minutes remaining. Thiago's ball to Salah, just tried to tickle it on the inside towards Firmino, who loses the ball to Ajax, who now maybe will look to break. Taylor, Kudos holding his run. Kudos now sent away. Liverpool's back four is extremely narrow and compact, and stepping out of that back line is Alexander-Arnold, runs into Blind, headed away then by Alvarez. Brought down by Thiago, dispossessed by Bergwijn. Ball played out towards the Ajax right, towards Tadic. Tadic, unmarked, right-hand side, sends over a cross, and the header is wide. It was Daley Blind, the left-back, who was at the far side of the 6-yard box. Free header, really should have hit the target. He put it wide by about a foot. Goal kick, led off for Liverpool.
Yeah, and the Ajax manager, Alfred Schroeder, thought that was in. It's a brilliant pass from Berghuis out to the right-hand side. Tadic gets his head up and picks out Daley Blind, who had drifted in a far post position, and he heads it back across Alisson. Alisson is rooted, and it goes agonisingly wide for Ajax. Big moment in the game there.
Well, the clearest moment for either side in this second half. Kudos coming back from an offside position. He won't go for the ball. Tsimikas deals with a threat of Tadic over on that far side. But that was a huge let-off for Liverpool. I mean, Blint, during his time for Manchester United, did score once in a 3-1 win at Old Trafford. But he had a chance here to silence Anfield.
Yeah, how he would have loved that. And he should have scored.
Cheltenham 2, Cambridge 1. A late goal in League One. And Burton 0, Portsmouth 2 is a latest score in League One. So Burton, bottom of the table, yet to win, have conceded another one there. Alexander-Arnold out to Salah, 1-1. Under 14 minutes remain here at Anfield. It's a scoreline that will certainly suit Ajax.
It is, but will we come back to that moment, to that Daley Blind miss? He should have scored. He saw that the cross from Tadic all the way onto his head. Did the right thing going back across Alisson. Always go back across the goalkeeper. It was so close.
13 minutes remaining. Diaz picks the ball up left of the centre circle into Firmino's feet just inside the centre circle now, and he passes the ball on a diagonal line out towards the right corner of the area. Salah trying to turn away from Bassi. Bassi holding him off with his strength. Thou shalt not pass. As the ball then goes on the inside from Matip to Van Dijk to join the attack. Ajax have everybody back inside their own half. Under 13 minutes remain. Shot comes in from Thiago, but it was from distance, and it was into the midriff, really, of Pasveer, the Ajax goalkeeper.
He worked the situation really well. Thiago just cutting inside Berghuis onto his right foot, but he hasn't been as prominent in this second half, hasn't been as sharp and as effective. Somebody's got to step up for Liverpool and find that one moment of quality.
2 wins from their last 7 in all competitions. They've got to be wary of the counter-attack, and Tadic now has got an area of space to run into. Tadic towards Taylor, side onto goal, back towards Tadic. Tadic, though, turns, right corner of the area, passes the ball now to Berghuis, towards Blint, joins the attack now with Bergwijn. Bergwijn onto his right foot, goes for a curler, caught and claimed by Alisson. Throws the ball out, throws it down into the ground for that zip to enable Salah to run onto the ball. Forward towards Nunez, onside on this, near side the right, in a foot chase with Bassi. Bassi comes across. Nunez will win a corner kick off the legs of Alvarez. Bristol Rovers, incidentally, are down to 10 men as they're now trailing still 2-0 at Portman Road. Bobby Thomas has been sent off. This is the Champions League, and we're just over 10 minutes remaining on BBC Radio 5 Live. Alexander-Arnold places the ball down in the quadrant. In this area of the pitch, of course, that he took that quick corner against Barcelona back in 2019. This time he waits, right-footed. It's an outswinger. Van Dijk's header bobbles around, took a couple of ricochets there, cleared away. Bassi has gone down. Play, though, continues. Bassi at the moment is holding his head. The referee will have to stop play, I would imagine, because he's gone down holding his head. And I think Bassi has won that decision. I think Bassi could have probably continued, but there is a stoppage in play. The referee isn't to know that. He can't afford to take that chance. And whilst there's a stoppage in play, we'll go to the Liberty Stadium where there's been a goal. Laura Kenyon.
The league leaders, Sheffield United, take the lead. Reda Khadra with the breakthrough deep in added time from a counter-attack. Heartbreak for Swansea right at the end, and boos resound around the ground. It's Swansea 0, Sheffield United 1.
That would take them 4 points clear of a certain Norwich City, although Norwich do have a game in hand. There was no way that Bassi was in such pain.
No, and you know, I don't like that. The referee really put in an impossible position, has to stop the game because it's a head injury. I think in situations like that, Ian, the player should be booked for that. He's trying to get the game stopped to suit Ajax. Now it's a drop ball. Ajax have just made another sub, haven't they?
They have. Florian Grilic has come on to replace Taylor. Marseille 0, Eintracht Frankfurt 2 is a latest score in Tottenham's group. That's Group D. As Liverpool here still being held with 9 minutes remaining. Here is Firmino. 30 yards out, inside towards Thiago, rolls it forward, caught, referee says no foul. Matip, he was checked by Bergwijn, and he was clearly hindered there as well, and quite rightly this time it is a free kick, which is awarded by the referee. Taken quickly, Nunez on the outside to Salah, right corner of the area, back to Alexander-Arnold, goes all the way through, clearance then strikes an Ajax body and rebounds back into the penalty area, cleared away, but Ajax this time managed to get it away, and it is still 1 apiece here with under 9 minutes remaining.
But when that ball was crossed into the box, Liverpool players, 5 or 6 in the box, all on the heels, have to be proactive and gamble. Somebody has to step up for Liverpool.
That goal, by the way, for Eintracht Frankfurt has been disallowed, so they're still only leading by 1-0 in Tottenham's group. Tottenham currently second still, despite that defeat earlier today to Sporting Lisbon. Salford, though, have got a goal at Harrogate late in injury time. Harrogate 0, Salford 1 is the latest score in League 2. Full-time now in the Championship. Lee Blakeman at Ewood Park.
2 wins out of 3 for Blackburn. They've beaten Watford 2-0. Well-taken goals from Ryan Hedges in the first half and Dom Hyam in the second. Watford have now won just 1 of their last 7 in all competitions. Blackburn 2, Watford 0.
And full-time at Swansea. Laura.
Swansea 0, Sheffield United 1. The league leaders extend their lead at the top of the Championship. The breakthrough deep in added time. Reda Kadra with the goal. Swansea, well, heartbreak, deserved something out of this, but at full time it's Swansea 0, Sheffield United 1.
Liverpool are attacking. Salah to Nunez, he's pulled it wide. He was inside the penalty area, he was about 13 yards out from goal, right-footed, took it into his stride, and he dragged it wide of the left-hand post, out for a goal kick, 1-1.
And this was the opportunity that Jurgen Klopp would have wanted his team to carve out. Clear-cut chance, really clever from Salah, makes the run right-hand side of the box, and then he just feeds the ball to Nunez, who doesn't have to break stride. See, 14 yards out, tries to beat Pasveer and pass the ball into the far corner, and he passes the ball past the far post. That was the chance, that was the opportunity that Liverpool have been craving for.
Chances few and far between in this second period on what has felt like a frustrating second half for Jurgen Klopp, who's just been having a word with a 4th official. I think a little bit of time wasting now creeping into the game of the Ajax players as Bassi has mishit that pass. He's overhit it, and it's gone out of play for a Liverpool throw. We've got 6.5 minutes remaining. There will be a good 3, maybe even 4 minutes of added on time, one would suspect, with the substitutions that have happened. As the full-time scores are coming in the Football League, when they're all in, I'll rattle through them. As Liverpool, with Firmino, keeps the ball in play but forces the ball back towards Thiago. Thiago now to Fabinho, to Firmino. Forward ball, Nunez makes the run in behind. Left-hand side of the penalty area, oh, and he crosses the ball low. And a back-pedalling Luis Diaz at the far post, couldn't get the touch.
Do you know what, I think Nunez, I felt he was offside when he made the run. He was actually onside, looking at it on the monitor. He does brilliantly, shapes across with his left foot and fires the ball across with his right foot. Crucial touch from Pasveer, because tapped in.
In comes the corner kick, downward header, scramble inside the 6-yard area. Matip was there, breaks out towards Luis Diaz, left-hand side. It was a vital touch, as you say, Chris, from the goalkeeper, because otherwise Luis Diaz was looking at a tap-in. Instead, it's his cross that is repelled. Thiago tries to win the ball back, and referee Artur Diaz penalises Thiago, and it will be a free kick to Ajax just outside their penalty area. Bayer Leverkusen 1, Atletico Madrid 0. Bruges, remember, earlier in Group B, leading Porto 3-0. Robert Andrich has scored late on in Germany for Bayer Leverkusen. which will mean that Bruges have 6 points, Leverkusen and Atletico 3, and Porto yet to pick up a point. Under 5 minutes remaining, as Kudos has come off, and Brian Brobby, the young Dutch forward who returned to Ajax after a spell from Leipzig, has come on to replace him through the middle. Another change as Ajax coming forward. Berghuis out to Blint, left-hand side level with the area. Cross from Berghuis, cleared by Liverpool towards Thiago. Thiago now over the top, looks towards Nunez. Bassi trying to come back at him. Nunez right-hand side of the penalty area, has support from Salah just behind him. Runs a little bit away from the Egyptian. And now he goes back towards Matip. Liverpool are leaving it late. 1-1 here against Ajax in the Champions League on 5 Live. Thiago. Forward ball cut out by Bassi. Thiago wins it back into the penalty area, and quickly off his goal line, sliding, was Pasveer, the 38-year-old Dutch goalkeeper, who's...
he's had a good night, hasn't he?
He has had a good night. He was certainly busier in the first half.
He was, but that little touch from Nunez when he fired the ball across, absolutely crucial.
Bristol Rovers have finished that game at Ipswich down to 9 men. Alfie Kilgore has been sent off. Swindon have got a late goal to lead Sutton by 3-2 in League Two. And Charlton have just had a player sent off as they're drawing 1-1 at home to Forest Green, still playing. We have under 3 minutes remaining. You're listening to 5 Live. You might be listening to the BBC Sounds app as well. Tomorrow our coverage is from the Etihad, Manchester City against Dortmund. The Ajax supporters, good 3,000 of them, or just under, will probably be held back by the police here at Anfield. But they will be very, very happy with this outcome if it stays like this, as Van Dijk runs forward. Tsimikas, left corner of the area with the cross into the air, reaches Salah, miscontrols the ball, shot takes a deflection, drops down, brushes the left-hand post and goes out of play for a corner kick. Liverpool unlucky.
Well, we are right behind this, and Salah, how many times have we seen him whip the ball into that far corner? Actually takes a deflection of Calvin Bassi's shin and loops up. Pasveer rooted off the post and behind.
Corner kick far side, it's an outswinger from the left. Matip with a header! The goal stands! Joel Matip, with just over 60 seconds remain, with a firm header, the goal line clearance, but the referee looked at his watch, and goal line technology, it was all in vain, and Liverpool have left it late, and Joel Matip's firm header gives Liverpool a 2-1 lead for what could be a morale-boosting win.
Well, he nearly scored earlier in the half with the header. He should have scored with a header earlier in the half. Gets up really well and goes back across Pasveer.
It was Tadic.
Tadic, he's behind the line. Tadic is clearly over the line. It's a terrific header. Reads the flight of the ball so well. Bang, back across. Matip's the man. And just how big a goal could that be for Liverpool? The Champions League this season, Ian.
Monumental from Matip. Liverpool lead by 2-1. They've struggled to create the opportunities as Tsimikas slips just when he needed to try and keep his balance. Ajax here threatening a late equaliser. Tadic, the Ajax captain, unable to keep it out at the other end. And Liverpool, you could argue Salah's effort almost went in. They were unlucky on that occasion, and then they had a stroke of fortune with a header from Matip. Tadic with a header, and Liverpool in the 89th minute leading Ajax by 2-1. Porto 0, Bruges 4 is the latest score. But you can clearly hear what it means, the relief inside Anfield for these Liverpool supporters, as Milner is going to be coming on in stoppage time. And he's going to be replacing Luis Diaz. Because this is the last time that they will play a game until the 1st of October. Huge for them to be going into that break with a win.
Yeah, and listen to the atmosphere. They needed this. Jurgen Klopp needed this. Performance in the second half had been a bit flat. They've worked so hard out of possession. They've huffed and they've puffed, haven't they? But it looks like they've got over the line. James Milner on now. Just shore up that midfield.
4 minutes, a minimum of 4, which we're now into. In fact, the first 60 seconds of that have already elapsed. Liverpool lead by 2-1. Blint clears it away. Alexander-Arnold's forward ball. Here is Salah. And he just stands now with his left foot on the ball. And the time wasting from Ajax. Now they'll be desperate to try and get the ball off these Liverpool players. As Bergwijn under pressure from Thiago. Alexander-Arnold wins it back. Thiago inside. Tsimikas, handball there. These are the full-time scores then in League Two. Wimbledon 0, Northampton 2, Barrow 2, Doncaster 0, Crawley 3, Stockport 2, Grimsby 1, Gillingham 1, Harrogate 0, Salford 1. Hartlepool 1, Crewe 1, Mansfield and Carlisle finished goalless. Rochdale 0, Leyton Orient 1, Stevenage 1, Newport 0, Swindon 3, Sutton 2, Tranmere 1, Bradford City 2. 2 more goals for the prolific Andy Cook, and Walsall 1, Colchester United 1. Liverpool are attacking. Left-hand side, Nunez over the head of Firmino, caught by the goalkeeper, and we have 90 seconds remaining. The full-time scores in League One: Barnsley 1, Port Vale 1, Burton 0, Portsmouth 2, Charlton Forest Green 1-1, Cheltenham 2, Cambridge 1, headed away by Van Dijk to Tsimikas. Ipswich 2, Bristol Rovers, who finished the game with 9 men 0, Lincoln 2, Derby 0, MK Dons 0, Bolton 2, Sheffield Wednesday beat Morecambe 3-0 away from home, Peterborough 0, Fleetwood 1. In comes the cross from the right-hand side, headed out by Matip. Plymouth beat Oxford 1-0, Shrewsbury 3, Exeter 2, Wycombe Wanderers 1, Accrington 0. They're still playing in the 8 o'clock kick-off in the Championship. Preston 1, Burnley 1. These are the full-time scores. Blackburn beat Watford 2-0, Huddersfield 1, Wigan 2, 5 without a win for Huddersfield. Hull 0, Stoke 3, Middlesbrough 2, Cardiff 3, and the leaders Sheffield United 4 points clear after beating Swansea by 1-0. Liverpool are going to make another change. And it's going to be Thiago coming off, and no wonder he's getting a standing ovation, Chris Sutton.
Yeah, I thought he was outstanding, especially in that first half. Faded a little bit in the second half. He's worked hard. And part of the team which may have just turned a corner, needed this result this evening.
Replaced by Stefan Bajcetic, who's a 17-year-old making his European debut for Liverpool, and only his second appearance for the club after his initial debut against Bournemouth. Tadic, right-hand side, Fabinho comes across, slides into the challenge. By my watch, we've played the 4 minutes to be added on. Van Dijk gets a friendly shove in the back. Sorry, Tsimikas gets a friendly shove in the back from Van Dijk, just to say you did your job well, because that should be it on a huge, huge win for Liverpool. Much needed. Clearance from Alisson, and the roar from the Anfield faithful will tell you that Liverpool have got the all-important 3 points. They have bounced back after that chastening night in Naples. Their Champions League campaign is back on track, but they left it late. Matip with a winning goal in the 89th minute. Liverpool 2, Ajax 1. Chris.
Yep, Liverpool still not at the very best. They had to earn the right this evening. Good response after the defeat against Napoli. Weren't at the fluent best in the second half, but a Matip header, and that's all that matters. I think Jurgen Klopp would have wanted maybe a better performance, especially when in possession. I thought they worked exceptionally hard, and they've ground out an important 3 points in this Champions League group stage. Now on to a double-header with Rangers.
Certainly not as fluent in the second half as they were in the first, but it's all about the results, and for that Jurgen Klopp will be delighted. Liverpool 2, Ajax 1. Kelly.